guys! Okay, so today I am going to be telling you all about my Broadreach trip. I literally have so much to say that this is going to be a long video, so just get comfortable. But, yeah, so if you guys didn't know, I spent nearly 3 weeks over the summer down in the Leeward Islands on a live abroad catamaran with, what was it, 12 other people, I want to say, and 3 counselors, and we sailed all around the islands, and we got our scuba diving license, we did some community service, and we did some hiking, and it was the most amazing experience of my life. And you're probably like, Grace, how the heck did you do that? That's so cool. I'm not a magician. I went with a program called Broadreach, and Broadreach is a company program. I don't even want to call it a company because it's so much cooler than a company, but it's like a program, and they do all these different trips all around the world. So no matter what, there's going to be something for you. They do immersion, community service, scuba, marine biology, biology in general, like sciences in general, and just so much things like photography, writing. Every single kind of program you could possibly imagine, they have something like it. So I will link their website down below so you guys can check it out, as well as a video that I did a while ago when I first came back of all of the GoPro clips that I took. I edited together a little 3-minute video, so I will link that down below. It's on this channel as well if you guys want to check that out. The trip that I went on was the Caribbean Underwater Discoveries voyage. And I think it's their most popular one. I flew down to St. Martin, which is their base. It's where their base is. It's a French and Dutch island, and we flew in on August 1st, and we got there. The flight was about 5 hours from New Jersey, and we got to the airport, and there were already a bunch of other kids there. They send like somebody to come pick you up, and you wait around for everybody to go, and then you get in this van and they drive you about 30 minutes to where their base is in a place called Radisson Marina, and it's on like the other side of the island, I think, or like it's kind of far away, but that's okay because the drive was incredible. The ocean was bright blue, the trees were bright green, everything was so colorful and just amazing. And I just remember turning around and saying to this one girl over and over and over again, like this is not real life. And we kept just saying it to each other, like, I can't believe this is happening. This is not real life. And that girl actually ended up being on my trip. Her name was Murphy, and we became really good friends. But at the time, we didn't know each other, and the only thing we were saying to each other was literally just like, this must be a dream. Like, is this real? This is not real. And just looking around the van, like, a lot of kids were talking, but I remember just seeing some kids just like staring open-mouthed out the window at how beautiful this place was. So they drove us to this marina, like I said, where all the boats are, and we unloaded all our stuff, and we carried our duffel bags on a very long walk around the dock to their little, it's called the pad, and it's this super cool, like, it's not fancy, so don't get your hopes up. It's not like super plush and fancy. It's pretty like basic, but it's so cool. It's like this little, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's basically like a large shack with picnic tables and an outdoor shower, and there was like music playing, and at first it was really intimidating. Don't get me wrong, it was super intimidating because all the counselors there are just so cool, and they're all like, I was just like this little white girl from New Jersey, I was not like and they were all just so cool and tan, and they were all like scuba divers and surfers, and like they were so cool, but they were so nice, don't get me wrong. So we showed up, we changed into our bathing suits, and we went directly to the ocean, and we went for our first swim. And the water there, first off, is so clear, and it's so salty, you can float in it. It's beautiful. And we were all just kind of getting to know each other, and I remember we all swam out to like the furthest buoy, and we were just sitting there like daring each other to see who could go down the deepest. And then we went back and we ate burgers, and we moved on to our boats. So that first night we spent in the marina, and I'm not sure if you generally do spend your first night in the marina or if you sail right out. I think you spend your first night in the marina regardless, but we were actually having tropical storm warnings, so they brought all the boats in that were out back into the marina, and all the trips that were scheduled to leave got delayed. So we spent the first night in the marina, and we just kind of got to know each other, and it poured rain, and even though they kept telling us, hey guys, sleep inside, we were like, we're not sleeping inside. So we slept outside and got poured on, but that's okay. It was super fun anyway. And then the next day, it was still, the weather was bad, so we stayed in a couple hours and we went for a morning swim back at the same beach, and it poured rain, and you're probably like, wow, that sounds like it sucked, but it was so much fun, and we played games and we got to know each other more. And then finally we went on our first sail, so we sailed from the marina over to Grand Cass, I believe it's called, which is another kind of area on St. Martin, and that was our first sail. It was only about an hour, so it was super short, but I got so seasick, and that's definitely a big concern that I know a lot of people have, is whether or not they're going to get seasick. If you're prone to it, that's a big concern. But for me, like my family, my dad gets so seasick, like it runs in my family, and I've never had like a huge issue with it, but that first hour, like I threw up. It was so bad. Like I was so seasick and it was just terrible, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna hate this trip is gonna be awful. But after that I never got seasick again, because you adjust to it. After you've lived on the boat for like a day or two, you adjust to it and you're totally fine. So that first trip was pretty rough, but after that I was fine. So we arrived in Grand Cass, and I think that's how you say it. I don't know, I'm sorry if I'm butchering this, but we arrived there, and that's where we did our first little scuba diving expedition in something called Cow Pen, which is like you go and it's like literally 6 feet of water, and you go and you kind of just get used to it, get used to breathing underwater, and you do some basic skills and some basic tests and stuff like that, and it's just, you just kind of chill there for a couple days. Then after that we sailed to Ile-Fourcheux, which is an uninhabited island off of St. Barts. And that was super cool. It was beautiful there, and that's where we did our first like real, what I consider real dive. Like that's where we like did our first real live dive, and it was beautiful. It was just so incredibly amazing. We didn't get off on this island because it was uninhabited, and we also didn't get off the boat at Ile-Fourcheux. So we just kind of hung out. We did basic scuba stuff, and then we went to another beach. I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but we call it the Beyonce beach because that's where Beyonce filmed one of her music videos, and it was a nude beach, which was kind of weird, but we hiked from that beach, which was not the Beyonce beach. We hiked to the Beyonce beach over, and it's a body surfing beach, so we did a lot of swimming, and it was super fun, and the hike was absolutely gorgeous, let me tell you. It was like, you hike along these like, and it's not really a hike, it's like a 20-minute walk, but you just look down and it's beautiful, and the water there is so clear, and we were walking through like down the streets, and there was this kid doing insane bike tricks. It was so cool. So we were there for a couple hours, and then we went back to the boat and we did some other stuff. We just kind of like hung out and you know, ate, and then the next day, that's when we went to Gustavia, and we had our first town time, which is when they just let you go hang out in town, and it's a super small town, so it's like you don't have to worry about getting lost, and lots of people speak English, so you don't have to worry about that. But St. Barts was definitely one of my favorite parts of the trip. It was so beautiful. The people there could have been friendlier. Just a tip, don't try and speak French to them because they will get offended. Just speak English to them. It just goes so much better. But I had the best meal of my entire life. I tell anybody who ever asks about this trip, this is the first thing I tell them about. If you decide to go on this trip, go to the place called La Crêperie. It's like up the hill. You have to go up a hill, and then you take a left, and you'll know what I'm talking about. And I order the croque monsieur and the mango daiquiri. It is the best meal of my life. And like I said, that's your first town time, so we went into the grocery stores. We bought like 20 bottles of Ting, which Ting is this like Caribbean grapefruit soda, and it's so good. We bought so many bottles of it. And then we got back on the boat, and the diving there was also beautiful, and it was really cool because where we were moored, there were like it was super clear, and you could see like all these sea turtles were just coming up and like just chilling. It was awesome. And then from St. Barts, I can't remember how many days we stayed there, maybe 2 or 3, and that was what, like I said, one of my favorite places. The dives there were beautiful, and it was just awesome. And then from there we went to St. Kitts. So the first place that we moored on St. Kitts was like just this random little cove, and we did a lot of like technical dives there, peak performance, buoyancy, and stuff like that. So it wasn't like super like interesting, but it was really fun because they take like all this cool stuff down and you get to like play with it and do limbo and gymnastics and stuff, and it was really fun. And that was actually like, it was, the weather there when we were moored there wasn't the best, but it was still really fun. We made fun of it. We played Mafia in the water. We went swimming. We sailed these little sailboats that they take around. And then the next day we got up early and we went and did our first wreck dive. So we sailed over there and we moored directly like above the dive, not above the dive, but like near the dive. And it was like a little tugboat. They put it there, like, no, I don't think it like actually sank. Did it sink? No, I don't think it sank. I think they like put it there purposely for the divers, but it was still cool. We saw a bunch of like rays and it was awesome. And then from there we went and we restocked for like an hour or two. Like we went to this place and they gave us food, and there was this guy playing this really like kind of intimidating like political propaganda speech. I don't know, it was kind of intimidating, but it was kind of cool. It was in a language we didn't understand, but woohoo. So we listened to that and we got some food, and then from there we went to Sandy Point Town, which is a town in St. Kitts. We went on a beautiful hike there up to this like old fort place, and you could see for miles. Like it was beautiful, and it was really cool. It was just, oh my god, it was so cool. And the dives there were also really good, and the coolest part about that is that we actually got to meet some of like the native people. There were a bunch of kids there, and they came out on these little like tires, and they actually came out and hung out on our boat for a little bit. So we kind of, you know, we had snacks with them, we talked with them, and it was really cool. It was awesome. They were super friendly and it was awesome. So from there we went to Statia, and we got more town time there. Our town time there was more of a like a scavenger hunt. We did a scavenger hunt throughout the town, and we had to find different things, and my team miserably lost that scavenger hunt, but that was later that night. Support boat, which is a boat that follows you around. You go around with all the other boats from the trips, so like there's a bunch of different boats and you all like go to the same places, but you don't really interact with them that much. But support boat, which is a boat that follows you around and has like food and just extra stuff in case you need anything. And they take you to like the doctor if you need to go to the doctor, stuff like that. They organized this cool little dinner at one of the restaurants there, and it was really good. It was really cool because we got to meet some of the other kids on the other trips, because like I said, we didn't really get to interact with them that much. So the food was really good, and it was just cool. It was a cool time. I had a lot of fun. It was right on the beach, or right on the ocean rather, so like you could see the stars, and it was really nice, and it was just a lot of fun. I really liked that night. That was definitely a high point again. And then the next day we went on a hike, and we hiked up a volcano, which was super cool. It literally looked like we were in what's that movie? Jurassic Park. It was crazy. You could look down into the crater, and we actually ended up hiking down into the crater where we wrote letters to ourselves that they are going to mail to us soon. Actually, I think they mail them to you 6 months from when you write them, which is super cool. But I remember from there we went to Saba, which was our last island of the trip, and that is the island that everybody gets hyped up about all throughout the trip. People would be like the counselors would be like, yeah, just wait till you get to Saba, like just talking about Saba on and on and on. And let me just tell you, it did not disappoint. Saba was beautiful. That's where also we got to do our first night dive, and my night dive, like, I cannot explain to you the amazingness that is going on a night dive. It is the best thing you will ever do in your entire life. You go down at like 9 o'clock, it's like pitch black and you're terrified. We were all like so scary, but you see the coolest things, and it's like super cool. You dive the site in the daytime before, so you get to see it, and then you go down again at night, and first off, you see the coolest things, like the craziest things come out at night. Like we saw this lobster that was literally like the size of my arm span. Like not the size of my arm span, but like it was pretty big. It was like this big. And I saw an octopus. And not only that, but there's a point, because when you night dive, you bring flashlights, but there was a point when we turned off all our flashlights and we sat in a circle and we just waved our arms around, and the, oh my god, what is it called? It's like phosphorescence. I don't know, the bacteria that lights up. I'm totally spacing on it, and I'm really mad because I'm a total marine biology nerd, but you like wave your arms around and it comes out, and it's just so, it's like this bacteria that just lights up. If you've ever seen like Nim's Island, like that stuff that makes the ocean light up, it was so cool. And I just remember, like, I kind of like moved away from the group a little bit at one point, and I was just looking out into like the dark abyss of the ocean, like watching this like these like things light up. And I just remember having like a really like deep inside myself moment where I was just thinking about like how small I am and how big the ocean is, and like just like this really deep like intense like talk with myself. And it was and we did community service, which is trail building, and it's different for every trip, but for us we did trail building in Saba, and we did like clearing, and we had this guy, and he was super cool. He was like 6'5" or something like that. He was huge, and he comes out and he carries a machete, and he kind of like, he went ahead of us, and he would like go off into the woods, and then he would come back with like all these crazy fruits. Like, we got to try so much fresh fruit, but this one fruit was called a mommy apple, and they were like this big, and it was like the consistency of a mango, but it tasted like an apple mixed with a peach. And it was so good. It was like just so good. So he would like bring us back fruit, and he would tell us all these cool stories, and there was like sheep and goats, and it was super cool. And then we went back, and we went and had town time in Saba, and Saba is beautiful. Like, it is a beautiful place. It's like up in the mountains kind of, and it's just, oh my god, it is so gorgeous. And they have the best diving. They have such good diving. And we ate food at this really good pizza place, and then we went on a little walk, and it was actually a really far walk, up to this lady called Joe Bead, and she owns this like, it's like a glass place, and she makes these crazy, not crazy, but she makes these like cool like glassware, like, and you can make like necklaces. And my biggest regret is that I didn't get one, but I bought one for my sister because it was her birthday, and you can get all these like cool beads, and like if you spend a certain amount of money, she lets you make your own bead. So that was really cool. And then we went back to the boat, and we hung out, and we, you know, did diving. Obviously, I'm not going to go like too much into depth because like you do a lot of the same stuff like diving, and you do, you know, stuff like that, but it's never repetitive or boring, I promise. And then after Saba, we sailed back to an island called Tintamar, and that was our longest sail. It took us about 12 hours. All of the sails range from about 3 to 6 or 7 hours, but this one was 12 hours, and you're probably like, oh my god, that's a ridiculous amount of time to sail, but it's actually really nice because they do it in shifts, so you only have to work the helm for 20-minute shifts. The rest of the time you're allowed to sleep, which is what you end up doing, because no matter how like immune you are to seasickness, there comes a time when you will get a little nauseous. After like your 5th or 4th hour of sailing, you will get like a little like, not even nauseous, but you're just like, I really wish the ground would stop moving right now. So one of the most valuable things you learn on this trip is to sleep anywhere. Like, you literally learn to sleep in any position, at any time of day, anywhere, with any resources. Like, you sleep. Like, you do learn to sail. Like, I learned so much about sailing. I previously knew how to sail, but I never sailed such a big boat before, so you learn a lot, but it's also not like you're like working the helm for 12 hours straight, you know? So it's like, it's not, if sailing is not your thing, like, you won't be forced to sail for 6 hours, like, unless you want to sail for 6 hours, but that's a long time to sail. So you can kind of sleep, like, you can try and read or eat, but it's really hard. One time we tried to make omelets while we were sailing. That was a bad idea. At one point we actually ended up feeding seagulls out of our hands. Like, they would fly like literally directly into your hand and take like pieces of ham and meat and stuff, so that was kind of cool. And then once we got to Tintamar is an uninhabited island off of St. Martin, so we hung out on Tintamar for our last night, and we did another night dive, and then in the morning they let you have a couple hours to yourself where you can kind of just go, like, we ended up swimming to the actual island, and we went swimming, and we made sandcastles, and then we went back to St. Martin. We cleaned up our boat, and we had one last meal at the pad, and we just hung out, and we went to the beach again, and then we went home, and it was so sad. It really was. I got home and I was just like, what am I doing? Like, it literally changed my life. Like, when I say it changed my life, like, I don't even mean to sound cheesy or like over dramatic or anything. It changed the way that I think about life and the way that I see life. And not only that, but like, the people that I met were so different from people that I know because they didn't grow up where I grew up. So they had so many different views on everything, and it was so cool. And that's the thing, that's another thing, is like, a lot of people were like, oh, well, what if you don't make any friends? Like, you make friends. Like, I literally showed up, and I had made friends within the first like 20 minutes of me being there. Like, everybody, you come out and you are just best friends with everybody on that trip. Like, I still hang out with a good amount of the kids in my trip because a lot of them were literally like live in the tri-state area. So like my friend Natalie that I met, I consider her one of my best friends. She lives in a different state than I do, but we still hang out all the time. We text, we talk. I met other friends who literally live in New York City. I can see them anytime. Like I am still best friends with these people, like, and I think I'm gonna be friends with them for a very long time. I went in there wanting to be in marketing and in business, and I came out wanting to be a marine biologist. Like that's a pretty big change. Like that's pretty life-changing. So I'm actually hoping to go on another Broadreach trip this coming summer. I really want to do the Fiji shark studies. It is quite expensive, so I'm gonna probably ask for it as like a Christmas present or a birthday present or something for my Sweet 16 because I want to go on it so badly. Like I said, I could not recommend this program enough. Even my mom was like, it is so impressive. And I can't tell you, like, I've already had people, like people who I've never met before from YouTube email me and be like, because of you, I'm signing up for this Broadreach. I have the Broadreach poster like hanging up in my room. Like I am such a Broadreach dork. Like I love it. I think it's great, and I honestly cannot thank them enough for what they've done for me. Like it is like they don't even know I'm making this video, but if you ever see this, then thank you so much for like what you've done for me and what you've done for everybody else. And I don't want to sound super corny, but like I am just so thankful that I got to go on that trip. So I'm pretty sure this video has turned into being like 20 minutes long, so I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Like I said, I will link the Broadreach website as well as my other Broadreach video down below so you can check that out. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!